Intelligence has long been a symbol of prestige and success, almost as valuable as a hefty bank account. While we know that how far you go in life isn't solely determined by your IQ, there's no denying that geniuses capture the world's attention. Throughout history, brilliant inventors, philosophers, artists, and mathematicians have left their mark, earning their rightful place through groundbreaking discoveries, revolutionary inventions, and timeless masterpieces. But among them, one man stands out, widely considered the most intelligent person to have ever lived. Since he lived long before IQ tests existed, his genius was never officially measured. However, his extraordinary achievements, documented in historical records, make him the brightest mind ever recorded. And given what he accomplished in his lifetime, it's hard to imagine anyone surpassing him in the coming decades. First, let's take a look at some of history's greatest minds. Stephen Hawking is often regarded as one of the most intelligent people to have ever lived. While his IQ was exceptionally high, it wasn't the highest ever recorded. He scored an impressive 160. Albert Einstein, the most famous physicist in history, is estimated to have had an IQ between 160 and 180. These two men are synonymous with genius, making them essential to any discussion on intelligence. But what about those with truly staggering IQ scores? Take Marilyn Vos Savant, for example, a writer who was long considered the most intelligent person alive. Some sources claim her IQ exceeded 200, while others estimate it at 190. These discrepancies likely stem from the different types of IQ tests used to measure intelligence. Then there's Rick Rosner, a man with an astonishing IQ of 192. What makes his story so bizarre is that for a time, he worked as a stripper and a nightclub bouncer, hardly the career path you'd expect for a certified genius. Beyond them, we have the true mega geniuses, like Dr. Kim Ung-yong from South Korea. He reportedly started speaking at just 6 months old, is fluent in Japanese, German, and English, has a deep love for poetry and mathematics, and has been invited multiple times by NASA to give lectures. His IQ, a mind-blowing 210. At just 13 years old, Christopher Hirata won a gold medal at the International Physics Olympiad, defeating competitors far older than him. By the age of 22, he had earned a PhD from one of the most prestigious universities in the US. Today, he works for NASA and boasts an incredible IQ of 225. But the most brilliant mind in the world today is, without a doubt, Terence Tao. It's said that by the age of 5, he could solve highly complex equations. Widely regarded as the most intelligent mathematician of our time, he earned his PhD at just 20 years old and became a professor at UCLA, one of the world's top universities, by the age of 24. His IQ? An astonishing 230. All of these individuals are among the rarest of minds, true intellectual giants. But with all due respect to them, and they would likely be the first to acknowledge this, their brilliance pales in comparison to one man. He wasn't just a step ahead of them, he was in an entirely different league. Many believe he was the most intelligent person to have ever lived, a once-in-a-millennium genius. Let me introduce you to William James Sidis. His abilities were so extraordinary that some consider his story almost supernatural. But make no mistake, William James Sidis was very real, and the things he accomplished actually happened. By the age of 6, he had developed a fascination with languages. He didn't just pick up a few. He mastered 9 fluently, including his native tongue. And these weren't just any languages. He could speak and write in Latin, Greek, Russian, Hebrew, Turkish, Armenian, French, German, and even his own invented language, which he called Vendergood. He even wrote a book detailing its structure. But these feats barely scratch the surface of his intellect. Perhaps one of the most astonishing and amusing anecdotes about him happened when he was an adult. One morning he walked into a library and asked for several books on Portuguese. Recognizing him, the staff greeted him warmly and inquired about his studies. William simply replied that he was interested in learning a new language. They left him alone, and he spent the entire day buried in his books, reading non-stop. By sunset, he finally put them down. The next day, he took a test to assess his proficiency and scored perfectly. His accent wasn't flawless, but he had officially learned Portuguese in a single day. William James Sidis was born on April 1, 1898 in New York City, the son of Russian immigrants. His parents were highly intelligent and strictly dedicated to their children's education. Instead of bedtime stories, his mother read them Greek mythology. Instead of stuffed animals, his father hung wooden blocks above their cribs displaying letters of the alphabet. But among all the siblings, William stood out as a true prodigy. By the age of just 18 months, he was reading the New York Times fluently. At 3, he was holding full conversations with adults. One day, his parents found him using a typewriter. He had dragged a chair to the desk, stacked books to reach the keys, and was typing a letter listing all the toys he wanted. By the time he was 4, he had already read the Iliad and the Odyssey in their original Greek. But that was just the beginning. What truly set William apart from other geniuses was that he wasn't just brilliant in one field. He excelled at everything he put his mind to. At 6, he developed a mathematical algorithm to determine the day of the week for any historical date presented to him. Around the same age, he corrected a postulate by Edward Vermilye Huntington, one of the world's most prominent mathematicians at the time. By 11, William had already earned a master's degree in mathematics and planetary studies and was delivering lectures at Harvard. One of his most famous talks was on four-dimensional bodies. The university's director even predicted that William would become the greatest mind in history. And there's more. By the time he was 5, he had written 4 books, 2 on human anatomy and 2 on astronomy. At 6, just for fun, he passed Harvard Medical School's entrance exam. At 7, he passed MIT's admission test, the world's top engineering school. But to William, these tests weren't career goals, they were just games. By 9, he was officially enrolled at Harvard, where he completed a degree in linguistics and graduated with honors. At 16, he entered Harvard Law School and earned his law degree, again with honors, all while continuing to study languages. By adulthood, William was fluent in an astonishing 40 languages. Unfortunately, not everything about William James Sidis was extraordinary in a positive way. He developed an extremely introverted and reclusive personality. He never had a girlfriend, never married, and had little to no interest in social interactions. He barely had any friends. Some believe this was because he never truly fit in anywhere, not even among other geniuses. He preferred solitude, away from any disturbances. Sidis worked as a professor of trigonometry and Euclidean geometry. In his youth, he was a socialist, which got him into trouble. But as an adult, he became a staunch libertarian. Ironically, an ideology that later played a major role in the United States' rise to economic superpower status in the 1950s. Seeking a private life, he published numerous books under pseudonyms, avoiding public attention as much as possible. He disliked being in the spotlight and had little interest in the outside world. This troubled genius, born far ahead of his time, was never fully appreciated for his extraordinary intellect. Despite this, he graduated with honors in 7 different fields, all from prestigious universities. Tragically, he passed away at the age of 46 due to a stroke. Experts and various scientific societies estimate that William James Sidis had an IQ ranging between 250 and 300, making him, by far, the most intelligent person ever known. Yet his life also serves as a fascinating lesson, one that reminds us that intelligence alone does not guarantee fulfillment or happiness.